From VTV Channel 6 Studios in downtown Vernal, this is Local Point with your host, Chris Piner.
Welcome to this week's edition of Local Point, brought to you by Ashley Regional Medical Center. Today's show features the Uintah County Historical Preservation Commission. Joining me in the VTV studio today is Jim Goodman. Welcome, Jim.
Thanks.
Good to have you in your hat here.
Well, I never leave home without it.
Well, you shouldn't. It's a
At the
beautiful
American
hat.
Express, you know.
You're good. Well said. Well said. Now, today we want to talk a little bit about some historical preservation. What are you up to with this society?
Well, we've identified historic buildings or sites, get them documented, put on the state historical register, or work on up to the national historical register. We have a lot of buildings that qualify for that. And you'll see the plaques around town on various buildings.
I have seen those.
This is all part of the process.
That designate a place as part of the something historical in the state of Utah.
Even though maybe the building's not there anymore, but what did happen there? We're in a very unusual area. A lot of mix has always went on from day one out here. Now and then we get a building that we want to save that cannot stay on that same location. That's the Hullinger home I'm here to talk to you about. All
right, well, let's talk about that. First of all, when you say Hullinger home, for those of our viewers who aren't familiar, what does that mean? Who is the Hullinger attached to this home?
Oh, this guy was a character. One of the first docs we ever had in the valley. He practiced medicine up till the age of 101 when he died in 1926. He helped form one of the first schools here. And his home was down towards Ashley Creek, off of Highway 40 there, which is now in our new industrial park. He actually paid a school teacher himself, formed a school and paid it out of his own pocket for a full year. So the buildings that were on this property, including the old original homestead cabins, plus the cabin that had one time been used for a schoolhouse, then his home. The two smaller structures are your typical starvation type homestead, sod roof, everything is done with an axe, pretty crude, dirt roof. But in this country, as long as there's a roof on them, those logs will stay preserved and we can dismantle those, number the logs, and move them. But the large house...
And
reassemble it. The large house is 21 by 26 feet, which is a large log home. That has an intact roof, and we're trying to move it intact.
Intact, all at once. Professional movers lifting up the whole thing and setting it somewhere.
Setting it somewhere, and that's the other point, is finding a home for it. The cost on moving the structure is about $12,000. Because you know, all of the utilities moving their wires, and the police that are escorting you, and the pilot cars, it gets quite involved, plus all the permits. It's quite a process, and thus the expense. Now, for a home, we were going to put it out in the Buckskin Hills shooting complex and have a start for a Wild West town out there, or someplace to put these old historic log homes. That's going through some changes right now, so that's not available at the moment. We're losing these homes at such a tremendous rate due to our expansion and the facilities, and you can't throw your hat without hitting a construction project.
Right.
And these homes, and this one, will be bulldozed if we don't get it moved.
Unfortunately, not everybody has the same value on the historical value of the home, and it will be bulldozed. You want to save it.
Right.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. We'll be right back with more information from the Uintah County Historical Preservation Commission. We'll do that after this message from our sponsor, Ashley Regional Medical Center.
Ashley Regional Medical Center supports the local community, from the Uintah High sports programs to the Relay for Life and the Dinosaur Roundup Rodeo. We work together to make our community a healthy and beneficial place to live.
Quality care with a personal touch. Ashley Regional Medical Center.
Welcome back to Local Point. Today we're talking about a special project organized by the Uintah County Historical Preservation Commission. And joining me in the studio is Jim Goodman, representing the Historical Commission. We've been talking a little bit about an effort to save some historic cabins.
Yes.
Now, just to recap a little bit, these were cabins that were once owned by one of our local historical characters, Dr. Harvey Coe-Hullinger.
That's correct.
And just to put a date to there, can you give me a time frame as to when he was here?
We're talking back 1885, and the sawmills in this country never started till the early 1880s, right in there. And the first folks that showed up in these homesteading, they were wealthy people. So they went down to the creek and they cut them a cottonwood logs. And well, if you ever mess with cottonwood, you know how difficult it is to find a straight piece of cottonwood. Then you've got to cut it up with an axe. Then as they were able to get up on the mountain, got some pine, and they were able to get a little bit larger houses. Then when they had a little bit of money, they could go to the sawmill, get them cut up fine, and they could then dovetail them to get a longer wall, because you can only saw so big a log on a wagon. And that's what this one is. This case is an early example, very good example of how to get a larger home using logs.
And was this sawmill product?
This is a sawmill product. But like I said, it can go back to that 1885 date easily.
Wow.
We're not quite sure.
Now there are 3 cabins you mentioned altogether, a large one and then 2 smaller ones. And the issue of moving these is one that's very urgent. As you mentioned, there's a date at which if they are